Capital punishment: execution of a prisoner via the criminal court of offense. The death penalty is the most easiest way for a person to get out of their punishment. So, if someone kills your loved one, right, wouldn't you want them to suffer instead of getting the easiest way out of the punishment? Well, that is what the death penalty is. The longer the person is in prison, the more they lose touch of reality and they start to go insane and receive schizophrenia and they want to kill themselves, which is the point because they killed someone that you once loved, right? And then they begin to beg for mercy from their victims' loved ones. So today we'll be going over why the death penalty is pointless, the wrongfully convicted, and why the death penalty should be abolished. So we have execution options, right? So we have lethal gas chambers, right? Looks a little familiar, right, compared to Hitler and things like that. We have the lethal injection table. We have electric chair, and we have hanging and or lynchings, and we have death by firing squad. Now, a lot of you probably do not know that most of these options exist. You probably thought that most of the options were lethal injection, electrocution, and or hangings. But no, we actually have a lot more options than that. What you do not know is that most prisons are actually having many botched lethal injections, which leads to convulsing, vomit, and you choke on your vomit as you're laying there. It's really, really, really nasty. Um, but many people are also put to death that are innocent. So if that person is innocent, shouldn't the people involved in killing this innocent person be put to jail too, and or put to death also? So speaking of that, the court system is kind of doing something called retaliation. If you know anything about jails or gangs, they have something called retaliation. So I'm just going to use someone from the crowd, okay? So let's say Gabe and Corbin, right? They're going at it, they don't get along. So Corbin goes and kills Gabe. Okay, so now Natalie, she's friends with Gabe, right? So she's going to go and kill Corbin. So now Lucas is getting at Natalie because Natalie then killed Corbin, right? See, it's a continuous cycle. They're going to keep killing and etc. etc. Now the court system is kind of doing something similar, right? Except for the continuous killing people and things like that, right? But it's not logical, is it? Your family member is dead, right? So what is this doing to the other family? That retaliation cycle. So it's not logical because it's not going to bring back your loved one, right? They're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. Killing someone else, they're dead, right? Nothing more to the solution. It's a common feeling that most humans feel, but it's not rational. It's just the first thing you think about is that you want to go kill so and so because they done killed so and so, right? But it's the easiest way to cope. So putting someone to death is the easiest way that they can cope too. Okay. So the next point is most people on death row are innocent. The death row was mainly put together because of blacks going against a white woman who claimed rape in the 1960s and the 70s. We all know that's Jim Crow and, segregation, things like that. So that was just the whole point. So as soon as slavery was over, prisons were created. So of course they're going to find another way to put black people to death, right? George Steiny Jr. was the youngest person to be sentenced to death via electric chair. He was 14. There are two white girls, Betty June and Mary Thames, I believe. And they're in South Carolina, and there's two communities. These are Rain Road, track, whatever, right? So these two white girls cross over to the black side. They're looking for these edible flowers called maypops. But these two little white girls failed to come home. They pinned George Steiny to this murder. Um, They went against the Eighth Amendment and the Sixth Amendment, um, the right to an attorney, and cruel and unusual crimes. He did not get to see his family for 3 months. He also did not get a lawyer or a attorney. He was put to death in 3 months when he got tried. 70 years later, in 2014, they found out that he really wasn't the one who did this crime, which makes no sense because it's just a way for white people to realize that, they put this poor little black boy to death. But that's also the picture of him being fried in the electric chair. Um, this is just a way for white people to show that they feel bad for what happened. But does this make sense? Because it's happened 70 years later. A tendency that the government likes to do is they like to throw money at people to say, "Oh, we're sorry," but it's like all these years went by and there's nothing that you can really do about it. These are stats from Texas. As you can see, most of the people on death row, they are minorities. As you see, there's many black people on death row in Texas. Um, the death penalty is pointless. It should be abolished. Many people like to kill on purpose to get on death row. James Robertson, if you watch I Am a Killer on Netflix, he was getting older and he felt the need to kill his roommate because he wanted to get on the death penalty. And he pleaded and pleaded and pleaded to get on the death penalty because, guess why? The conditions are better on death row. So he pleaded and pleaded, and then he gets on death row, right? The conditions are way much better on the death row. So many people kill because they don't want to deal with the consequences of their actions from killing someone else, right? And they also get to get this lavish meal before they die, right? They can order whatever they want. I can order buckets of chicken or ice cream or tacos or whatever I want to eat before I put to death. I could call my family. I could call my attorney. All this other stuff. But did your family member get to do that before they died, right? That's the whole purpose. Did, let's say, Meredith, she's murdered, right? But we have, let's see, who am I going to use? Eliana, she's on death penalty. She gets to order whatever she wants. Did Meredith get to order whatever she wants? Did Meredith get to call her mom and dad before she get put to death? No, but Eliana gets to. Why, when she's the one that got sentenced to jail for killing Meredith? Doesn't make sense, does it? What you also don't know is that taxpayers also pay for a death penalty, which is very, very expensive. They also, like I said, like to throw money to people and say, "Oh, I'm sorry I put you in jail. Let me just throw you $5 million and we'll call it good," right? No, that's not how that works. So you should rethink your options about the death penalty because it could always be you on that table or that chair, even if you did or did not do it. So you're not really getting that justice for your family member, are you? No, not necessarily. Because they get to eat good, call. They even get to have pets in their cells, TV, a mini fridge, a drink, or whatever they want. So just remember, it could be you. That's the victim. Would you want your perpetrator, your killer, to have a little cat in their cell before they get put to death? Something to think about. Well, there are many groups and organizations, death penalty action, that you can sign petitions to. Abe Bonowitz is the coordinator for it. I also emailed him. He gave me good words for this. Thank you for listening. This was very dark and deep and other things like that. There's many things that you can learn about the death penalty, but unfortunately, time exists. So thank you for listening.